here today to talk about my sanctuary. Each of my pieces are developed through a problem-solution framework. In this case, my problem was devotion. I began to see my actions as rituals and prayers. I tracked these habits for months, mapping them as data. I wanted to create a practice of religious devotion that was wholly my own. I found that self-fulfilling acts where my devotion was turned to the self were rare. Most were pleas to external forces to take responsibility for my salvation. These acts were always the ones I found myself sacrificing the most for. I was looking for things I was too scared to provide for myself. Creating my sanctuary was my solution to this. I have spent this past year researching religious spaces and the idea of creating beauty functioning as a conversation, offering God your best. I guess I'm trying to offer the best to myself through this process. It's a ritual of devotion to the self. The imagery I chose to include are exclusively photos from the past year of my life, mundane things like ice and buildings I see on my walls. This is a celebration of my ability to find beauty and a development of the understanding that my ability to see value in things, not the thing itself, is what gives them their power. A religion means nothing without its believers. Each wall is focused on one main tenet of religion, principles that almost all forms of religion are founded upon. These are practices, beliefs, mythology, and community. My specific understanding of beliefs is connected on my core concept of the self as a shell, the ways I've attempted to protect myself. Practices are my ritualistic ways of living. They are the routines I have developed as a way of assuming responsibility over my salvation. Mythology is all the things that have come into my life that I never thought were possible for me. I've become exactly who my past self wanted to be in so many ways. Community is the understanding that getting better is not a solitary practice. It's accepting that I cannot sterilize my environment and there are still things I cannot provide for myself. As I paint each wall, I found myself learning about each tenet that they represent. The first wall was a process of breaking and creating habits. It was painted mostly in isolation. Through the second wall, I began to better understand my shell and the fact that I had perhaps retreated too far into it. Physically, it's a small alcove in the school that's rarely visited. It's a space I've sought sanctuary in long before it earned its namesake. But it's also become communally significant. Everybody knows where to find me and that it's a place they can come to hide or sleep or talk. It has already begun to function as a sacred space. At first, the space felt crucial to my survival. I needed to learn to be alone, and I spent that first month working for hours after the final bell every day. This has made me think a lot about my definition of protection. This project is protective in the most traditional sense. It prevents harm. But there can be less fearful definitions of the term. What I am seeking now is protection in the sense that I am creating a space for something to thrive. I am learning that thriving may not be possible in isolation. Initially, I planned to paint 4 walls, but I don't paint for the sake of painting. This project is a functional solution that is coming to a close as it fulfills its purpose. There are some problems that cannot be solved through introspection. I've spent nearly all of my life waiting to finish the sanctuary and waiting to get better. In my attempts to turn my devotion to myself, I really found myself becoming devoted to potential. In the sanctuary's completion, I hope to reorient my devotion back towards the present. Thank you.